How's it going, y'all? It finally snowed. It snowed once already, but like it snowed for real, and I think it's gonna stick around for the rest of winter. Anyways, today's video is a virtual tour on one of the best suburbs in the Twin Cities, Apple Valley, Minnesota, which is a suburb that I happen to be uniquely familiar with because I grew up here. How's it going, y'all? My name is Jesse Lynch. I'm a real estate agent here in the Twin Cities, but this YouTube channel is devoted to two things. First of which is teaching people about buying, selling, investing in real estate, and the other of which is showing off the amazing place that I live, the Twin Cities of Minnesota. So if either of those two things appeal to you in even just the tiniest way, do us both a favor, subscribe to this channel, click the little bell to get notified, give this video a thumbs up, and say what's up in the comments. Anyways, right now I'm at Long Ridge Park in Apple Valley, which I will say my very biased, but I think pretty accurate opinion, this is the best sledding hill in like the whole Twin Cities. Maybe there's something better. Okay, but why it's so great is because there's a bunch of different levels. Back here you can see people sledding, and it's like a 2-layer thing, but actually you can go up above it and it's a 3-layer. And then behind me there's kind of a normal hill, just straight down, pretty straightforward, good for younger kids. And then behind that is what we used to call the Water Tower Hill. It's actually like a 2-part trail that cuts through the woods. Super cool, super fun. And why am I talking about sledding hills? Well, for one, this is the first virtual tour that I've done where it's snowy. And two, I happen to know Apple Valley particularly well because, like I said at the beginning, I grew up here. I'm excited to show you around. It was an awesome place to grow up. My mom still lives here. My sister still lives here with her nephew, actually in the house that I grew up in, which is kind of crazy. But it really just was such a good place to grow up. I can't recommend it enough. Stick around. Have you seen my video about things that you need to survive Minnesota winters? Remember when I talked about WeatherTech mats? Well, this is why. All right, my friends, right now I'm in front of the Minnesota Zoo, which is by far the best zoo in Minnesota, and it is also home to the School of Environmental Studies, aka SES, aka the Zoo School. Apple Valley is defined by 4 main borders. To the north is 35E and Valleywood Golf Course and a few other parks. To the east is Diamond Path. To the south is 160th, which is also known as County Road 46. And then to the west, it's more or less County Road 11. Apple Valley gets an overall A grade on niche.com. It has a population of around 55,000, and I think in 2013 it was voted by Money magazine as the 17th best place to live in the entire United States. From basically 1858 to the mid 1950s, I think, Apple Valley was actually known as Lebanon Township, and it was basically all farming land. And then the suburbs just began to develop in the 1950s, and I'd say they really took off in the 70s. One thing Apple Valley does exceptionally well is the schools. And I know that I say that in most of these virtual tours, but keep in mind, I am showing off places that I think are really desirable. One cool thing is that you basically can't go wrong with a high school in Apple Valley. Eastview High School is the highest rated high school in Apple Valley, and that gets an A+. The School of Environmental Studies is a very unique high school experience, and that also gets an A on niche.com. Apple Valley High School, I went there, that gets an A. And also Rosemont High School serves a little bit of Apple Valley, and that also gets an A. And you gotta go way down the list to like middle schools before you start getting into like a B+ at all. Like Scott Highlands gets a B+, and Valley Middle School gets a B, but I went to Valley Middle School, and I'm awesome. One weird thing about Apple Valley is that there's 2 like super legitimate Target stores within the Apple Valley border. I don't even understand why that's necessary, but hey, it's a thing. Who doesn't like options? And then lastly, a pretty big bonus is that the Red Line, which is a bus line, it's like an express bus line. It runs right down Cedar Avenue, which turns into 77, and it goes to the Mall of America. And so basically you can take an express bus from Apple Valley to the Mall of America, and then you can hop on the light rail and you can go from the Mall of America to downtown Minneapolis. You can go from downtown Minneapolis on the other. It's really just a super convenient bus line if you're trying to get downtown. It's cold out. Let's go for a ride, huh? All right, right now I'm basically in like the commercial center of Apple Valley. There's a Target and a Best Buy behind me, but it's basically, okay, back here, Cedar Avenue, and then over this way is County Road 42. And which brings me to the first pro, which I think is that Apple Valley does a pretty good job of separating residential and commercial. So you get all these conveniences. You just go downtown Apple Valley, and you have all the conveniences of the commercial district. And then, but then all the neighborhoods are very much neighborhoody, right? They feel like just neighborhoods, classic. You could have a kid bike on the road or playing basketball in a court or something like that, and you wouldn't worry too much about them. All right, the next pro is schools. Apple Valley School District is really, really great. Sorry, y'all, this wind is wild. You may have seen my other video, which was like best affordable school district. And if you did, you know that Apple Valley just barely made the cut on affordability, but for sure has some of the best schools in the Twin Cities. But I would say that even affordability is a pro of Apple Valley. The average price of a single family home is $310,000 here, which in the grand scheme of the Twin Cities, that is not that bad. Another pro is that it's super convenient. Again, I grew up here. It's close to the Mall of America. It's close to the airport. And you know, it's maybe a half an hour from downtown. When I went to college in downtown Minneapolis, I still lived in Apple Valley, and the commute was not terrible. It was like a half hour to 45 minutes depending on traffic. Another pro, it's a safe place. Next, there's tons of parks and lakes and walking paths, and also biking paths. It's a good place to bike. And lastly, it's pretty well developed. I don't imagine that a whole ton of, like an apartment is gonna be coming up in somebody's backyard, or most of the residential areas are already completely developed. So I don't imagine that there's all of a sudden going to be some commercial district right next door that sort of ruins the value of your home. It's freezing. Go to my truck. So quick plug, imagine how hard I will work for you as your real estate agent. So cons, what are the cons of Apple Valley? Not a ton. Apple Valley is a great place. That affordability thing, usually in a lot of these videos I say, first con is that it's expensive. That's not exactly the case with Apple Valley. pretty good. The first con I'm gonna say is that public transportation around here isn't the best. There was a while when I was going to school downtown where I didn't have a car, or actually didn't want to drive my car, and I would have to take buses downtown, and it wasn't the best. I will say that that red line I was talking about did improve that quite a bit, but it does still take a while to get from Apple Valley to the likes of downtown. Second con I would say is that it's like a second or third ring suburb, and so basically it's just not very central. If you have to go to a northern suburb, you got to kind of go all the way through the cities, and that's going to be pretty far away. Third is something that my sister mentioned. Maybe you remember, she lives here with my nephew and brother-in-law. And so my nephew goes to Apple Valley High School, which is one of the older high schools in the Twin Cities. I think it was put up in the mid-70s. And by the way, my sister still lives in the house that I grew up in, which is kind of crazy. And that is like the older part of Apple Valley, right? And so the schools over there, it's Southview Elementary, Valley Middle School, and then Apple Valley High School. There's some of the older schools in Apple Valley, and so they have kind of like older facilities like ice rinks, football fields, and that kind of thing. But I would argue that if you were to go to Eastview, it would be very much different. I think Eastview was built around 2000, and it's a very nice updated school. The zoo school, you would still do sports and other activities with like your home-based school. So if you went to Apple Valley High School and also went to School of Environmental Studies, you would technically still play sports with Apple Valley High School. Last con is that today it's cold out. It's cold everywhere though. So what are you gonna do? All right, y'all, I forgot to do an outro and I'm short on time. I'm headed to help somebody list their home. And if I'm being honest, I'm not even in Apple Valley anymore. So I feel like I'm cheating, but hey, I just want to get this video out there. Apple Valley is a dope place. I grew up there. It was honestly an excellent place to grow up. It's still great. It's maybe even better now. It's more convenient. Eastview now is there, and Eastview High School is an excellent high school. And I know I always say the Twin Cities are like a Goldilocks, but I think as far as suburbs go, affordability, convenience, good schools, Apple Valley might very well be that Goldilocks. And I say this every time, so if you're still watching, I appreciate that very much. But I hear from so many people, this YouTube channel has been crazy in the absolute best way, so much fun. And I get to just meet people, and I get to sort of be like the liaison between, you know, somebody moving here and this location. I get to be the relocation expert, right? So like the expert of this process, but then also the expert of the Twin Cities. I have people hitting me up who are coming here from both coasts. There's somebody just hit me up from Indiana, but I've also heard from people from the UK, from Saudi Arabia, from Australia. I'm sure there's others, but what I really just want to say is that I really love doing this. I'm actually growing a team, right? So I'm gonna have some other agents that work with me. They're probably gonna start doing some videos. They're gonna like be part of the video process, because one thing that I don't want to do is just have somebody reach out to me and then just hand them off to somebody. That's not my intention, and that's not something I'll do. So if I grow a team, they're going to start being on these videos. You're going to get to know them, and you're going to be able to tell that they are in fact experts as well. Because if I'm being honest, I'm just not going to settle for anything less than an expert. But all right, I appreciate you watching this. And by the way, this is just a sizing ring. It looks fancy, but yeah, they say that you're supposed to wear a sizing ring for 24 hours. So that's what I'm doing. It's just plastic. It's ridiculous. But as always, I appreciate you watching this. If you like what you see, please do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, click the bell to get notified, give the video a thumbs up, and leave a comment. Okay, I hope you had a very good new year. As weird as everything's been, I just hope that everybody has the best 2021. I think we all deserve some good feels. At this point, I'm just rambling. I know. Happy New Year. Got cool stuff coming up. Love you. Bye-bye.